All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Door to Door Mastery. This is a training module that will be accompanied up on Power Pioneers with all of the supporting materials, something that we covered at our recent national convention, and I'm honoring my commitment to post this so that everyone has it. And I want to just start out with why we even have this type of training. Cornerstone of success, there's no question about it. Prospecting is something that you really need to master the fundamentals of this. And I have ways to coach you that make it very uncomplicated and unintimidating. And, anybody who's a professional at anything, a doctor, a lawyer, you name it, they have to be well versed in the fundamentals of whatever their profession is, or they wouldn't be professionals. And if you look at prospecting, the foundation of the direct salesperson, which is what we are, is prospecting. Without really mastering those fundamentals, then it's really tough to be able to master selling, right? Most people who fail in this industry are going to fail because they never learn how to effectively prospect. And there's some really key tips that I hope to share with you tonight. Anyone, when they're properly trained, can write the sales order. Getting the appointment, on the other hand, that is the Achilles heel. That's the toughest battle unless you know how to do it. And by being good at prospecting, it is the key to being a top money producer. And if it's done properly, it can take a very tough job and really make it a simple job. So key thing is to know what it is that we do when we're in the field. And, we're not open communication here. I'm not taking feedback yet, but what we don't do is we don't do this, right? We're not out, pitching panels and all that type of thing. We're not out selling. That's the last thing you want to do when you're prospecting is if you consider it selling, what you're selling is you are selling the appointment. That's all we do is we are setting appointments, and that's the sale. Sometimes difficult for people to get in that mindset that they want to answer all of the questions that are thrown their way. And really, you don't want to do that. You just want to focus on getting an appointment. You're not selling door to door. You're piquing people's interest. And the intent is to get an appointment in the next 24 to 72 hours. So even if somebody says, hey, come on in right now, talk to me about solar. Let's see if this works. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I actually have 50 people to talk to today, or 30 people to talk to, or 100 people to talk to. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to be in the neighborhood for the rest of the evening. I can come back here at 6 o'clock, or I can come back here at 8 o'clock, or if that isn't good, I'll come back tomorrow. So what you really want to focus on is not getting in the mindset of selling. You're really out there getting appointments. So if you're selling something, you're selling an appointment. And then really what you want to do is you want to be able to frame the next steps. You want to be able to frame what it is we're going to do. And your job is not to have them concerned that you're going to come out and do a high pressure pitch. It's I'm going to come back here and I'm going to educate you on the benefits of solar. If you like what you see, then you'll be afforded the opportunity to get a proposal and see if this really works for you. But my job really is to educate you on a lot about the industry that most people don't. And we focus on what we call some of the myths of solar. So I just want to let you know that I'm not coming back here to do a high pressure sale. So you're out there just prospecting and you're looking for leads, but not every attempt to get a lead is going to work. Really, it's about 1 out of 5 conversations that you have when you're at the door, properly coached and properly trained, will result in a lead. Now, a lead doesn't mean it's an appointment. That's the next step. An appointment is when you actually have a presentation. And I usually coach a 50-50-85 rule. What I mean by that is half of the leads that you have set will not result in an appointment. They won't result in a presentation. It's just the way it works. And if you're getting too many of them going to an appointment, you might not be pushing hard enough. So understand that the nature of the beast is about half of them are not going to result in an in-home sit down. The other half are going to go, some might reschedule and come back in your pipeline, or they just may never confirm when you go out to see them. And that is the nature of the beast. The other is 85-15. Even if you talk to a homeowner and they confirm their appointment, there's a 15% likelihood that when you go there, they're going to reschedule, or they're going to reschedule just prior to your arrival, or they're going to no-show you. Again, it's the nature of the beast. And as long as you have proper understanding of what the rules are, have proper expectations, you won't be disappointed. So those are general guidelines I want you to understand. And then from here, what you really want to do is you want to learn the script. And I'm going to give you several options to look at. You've got to choose what suits your personality the best, but you want to memorize it so well that you have it down. You don't have to worry about getting distracted. You want to be able to bring it to life. And the best way to do that is to do things like I'm starting to do now. Emphasis. You want to you hesitate. You want to pause during portions of your presentation. You want to have modulation. You want to step it up. You want to make sure that you're emphasizing the key points in the presentation. And unless you have it memorized, that's not going to happen. You're going to sound like a robot, or you're going to sound like you're reading it. So the objective is to have it memorized so well that even if they ask you a question right in the middle of a sentence, you're able to come right back to where you were because you know exactly what it is that you intend to say. And we don't give you really complicated presentations. I'll show you in a few minutes. The other is to know when to prospect. And this may seem obvious. There's just key times. And if you look at the real prime times of prospecting, it's Monday through Friday from 5:30 to 8:30. Here I am right now in downtown Dallas. It's 8:10, it's dark. So in this time of year, you're stopping typically about 7:30 as the sun sets and it starts to get dark. As it stays later, which is about a minute every day later, and then you hit summer solstice, and then the summer starts going the opposite way. Then you hit winter solstice and it starts coming back around. So it's that cycle that you have to go with. And in the winter, most times you're not out there prospecting from 5 to 8 unless you're literally putting on a jacket that people will have visibility of you. Most people don't want to prospect in the dark. So your real prime times then are going to be Saturday, and we may talk about Sunday as well, 9:30 to noon and 1 to 5. I mean, these are the money days. The money days and money times are when you can get out on a Saturday or on a Sunday. You can make up for anything, whether it be the dark or whether it just be people not being home. Those are the money times. The second best times are Monday through Friday from 10 to 2. And you don't know exactly what's going to be best until you kind of get the pulse of a neighborhood and you work a neighborhood a bit, because there are people who work at night and those people are going to be home during the day. There are people who work during the day. Those people can be home during night. I mean, it seems obvious, but those are kind of the second best time. So target your time, see what's best for that neighborhood. And then again, Sunday is a great time to get out after people get back from church, after people get back from their Sunday brunch, their time with their family, etc. So those are second best times. The no-no times are typically before 9 a.m. any day of the week and after 8:30. Out of respect, you don't want to be knocking or ringing doorbells after 8:30 p.m. Before 9:30, I even say 10 on Saturday. So I'll get to a neighborhood about 9:30, but I won't actually start hitting the doors. I'll survey it and I'll see how many people have solar and just kind of get to know the neighborhood. Always important to do that no matter what. And then other times that it's not appropriate really to be on main holidays such as Christmas, because that's when people are expecting to have their family time and you don't want to be interrupting them, knocking on their doors and doing it. But these are just guidelines. You can use your judgment, whatever's best for you, but use this information to pick the best times to prospect. All right. So with that, let's take a look at a few scripts. This is one of the fastest ways to learn a script, is to not have one. How about that? And here it is. You carry the clipboard, you have the flyers, which are going to be in the Dropbox that I'm going to share with you. There's multiple flyers. There's one that saves an average of $500 a year. There's one that saves $26,000 over the life of the system, or I should say the life of the contract, the loan document. There's a Spanish version of both of those. So there's 4 different flyers that are in your back office. They're I should say in the Dropbox rather than I'm going to be sharing with you. So here's the pitch. Now, I usually have, which I have right here, one of the flyers laminated, and notice how it's on the clipboard, just like he has there. So all you do is you hold that up like this, and when you're coming up the door, you knock on the door, not ring. Friends knock, strangers or salespeople ring. So act like a friend. Don't knock too loud. You don't want to be interrupting people or disturbing them, especially if it's out during the day. Can be kids taking a nap, right? And this is it. You just hold up a clipboard. Hey, I'm not here to sell anything. You open with a smile. I just have one quick question for you, if you don't mind. And generally, you're going to get, I'm not interested. Well, I totally understand. But I just have a quick question, and I'm not here to sell anything. And then just proceed. Don't ask for permission. Just proceed. Take that command. So the question is, do you pay too much for electricity? And now you wait, you pause, let them think about what that is. Don't rescue them. And generally, if they say, well, I don't know, say, well, how'd you like to learn? No matter what the answer is, how'd you like to learn how you can save money and lock in your electric rates pretty much for the rest of your life? That's the presentation. So kind of go back through that and look at it as simple as that. Knock, knock. I'm not here to sell anything. I just have one quick question for you, if you don't mind. They should say, I'm not interested, or sure, great. Do you pay too much for electricity? Pause for about 3 to 5 seconds. Whatever the answer is, how'd you like to learn how you can save money and lock in your electric rates pretty much for the rest of your life? That's the presentation. From there, you go through the bullets on the flyer, right? You go through each one. You don't have to memorize it because you just said there's no upfront cost for the equipment, there's no upfront cost for the installation, nothing for the activation, and you get the benefit of locking in your electric rates for the rest of your life. So I'm not here to sell anything, like I said. I'll be back here tomorrow and on Saturday. Which day is better for me to stop by? About 30 to 45 minutes. Break eye contact and look down. Don't look up until they say something. You say, well, great. How do you spell your last name? Write it down. Break eye contact, look down. Some people don't even write it down. They'll put it in their notes. They'll put it on their calendar. Whatever works best for you. I always like having something that I can break eye contact and just write it down. And then you have to ask the other questions. Well, you happen to know what your average electric bill is. Start making those notes. What's the best number to reach you? Just in the event that something changes on my schedule, so I can give you a call out of courtesy if anything changes. What's the best number to reach you? And by the way, I always like to send out an email confirmation message, Mr. Customer. What's the best email address for me to send that message to you? So don't ask just for the email address, or don't ask just for your phone number. You don't say, what's your phone number? Or what's the best number to reach you? Say why. Just in case anything changes in my schedule, I'd like to be able to give you a courtesy call and let you know what's the best number to reach you. Look away. Same thing in email. I'd like to send you an email confirmation. I'll put you on my calendar so that way you know you have all the details. And if you have to reach me, you'll have my contact information there. What's the best email address to use to send that message? It's important at this stage that if you've gone through and you've got their attention, you got their interest in wanting to be able to talk to you about the benefits of going solar, that now you take the extra steps in locking down everything that you possibly can. The more time you spend at this point, the better. I even have a qualification checklist. If I can get more and more information about that home, that it just proves my educational benefits, right? I'll even ask, if you don't mind, grab a copy of the bill, because what I'd like to do is actually take a look at what you're paying per kilowatt hour, how many kilowatt hours you're using, because that's what we're going to design a system to be able to replace that. So you're not renting that energy from the monopolized grid anymore. We can turn the liability you have that you're paying for electricity, renting electricity, into an asset that adds value to your home. And while I do that, while you grab that bill for me, would you mind if I just take a quick picture of your electric panel and your meter? And again, more that they allow you to do, that's just all the more solid that's going to be in terms of a lead that you can convert into a potential contract. I'm not going to, every time I get to this particular slide, it's at the end of each script, I'm not going to spend that much time like I just did, but just understand the kind of the psychology behind each of these bullets and how you're not just asking a question, you're stating what you need and why I need what I need. It's really that critical. And the more you can go and get information and get pictures and step back and take a picture of the roof, it just really adds to the credibility of what you're setting out to do. Okay, so that's the first script. Second script is an eligibility script. And I like to go to a neighborhood and actually look for how many homes have solar. In certain markets like Texas, it's a small percentage compared to what it is in California. And what I try to do is I try to find people who have installations so I kind of know and I can point to those homes. And I'll knock at the door. Again, hi there. My name's Charles. I'm not here to sell anything. I'm in the area. I'm following up on some of the recent installations, and I'm talking with people about how to save money by switching to solar. Has anyone stopped by yet for my group to see if you're eligible? No? Okay, well, great. Your roof looks great. Let's go ahead and see if you're eligible. And kind of the best way to do that, by the way, is to take a quick look at your electric bill. Would you mind grabbing a copy for that, please? It's just as short and sweet, and you're going to get some pushback. You can get some sensitivities. That's how you go back into building the credibility. You don't have to memorize a script. If they start saying, well, what's this all about? Like I said, I'm following up with some of the other installations. We have a great promotion in this marketplace today where you can actually go solar with no money out of pocket, and you're going to save an average of $500 on your electric bill just in your first year, and about $20,000 to $30,000 over the life of the loan that we'll facilitate for you. Some of my customers save upwards of $80,000 to $100,000 over the life of the system, but there's no cost, whatever. No cost of equipment, there's no cost of installation, there's no cost of permits, the activation, nothing out of pocket. And we're going to show you this through an educational meeting. I'm not going to come back and say you anything. I'm going to spend 30 to 45 minutes with you, educating you on the benefits of solar. If you like what you see, we'll create a proposal for you that you can look at, and it'll be your choice if it's something you want to take advantage of. No high pressure sales. I'm purely focused on education. So I'm going to be back in the neighborhood on Saturday, on Friday and Saturday. So tomorrow and Saturday. What date might be best in your calendar? Friday? Okay, I've got, what's better, morning, afternoon, or evening? All right, morning, 10 a.m. or 11 a.m., what's better for you? So every time you look at and break eye contact and lock that down. So now you confirm that appointment, get all the details of who you're speaking with, and there's some simple forms that'll be uploaded inside that Dropbox folder that you can take a look at, okay? That's the second script. And the third script is for those who have a fear of prospecting, which is probably most people when they first get started until you get comfortable doing it. This is the most non-intimidating way to prospect. Simple approach. The flyers that you're going to have in that Dropbox, you drop 50 to 75 of those in a designated area. And the beauty of these flyers is, or you can hire somebody if you don't want to drop the flyers, but the real key is to use them, not to expect people are going to call you, because they're not going to call you. That's the reality of it. So what you want to do is you want to take the flyer and you want to roll that flyer up. So I'm going to show you what we do. You roll the flyer up and you place it inside the door handle so that this is what the homeowner sees. So you place it in the door handle and you let it open up. And as it opens up, it just expands, and it will keep the wind from blowing it away. It will stay in place. Or you can put it inside the screen door, but you want to put it someplace where you can see it and the homeowner can see it when they walk up to the home. Do not place it in the mailbox, because you will subject yourself to a fine from the post office. So be sure not to do that. Now, what do you do with that? Now you drop those flyers, and usually I'd go out in the mid-morning, take a break, maybe have some lunch, and then come back and work that very same neighborhood 2 to 3 times, so that what you're looking for is you're looking for the home that has no flyer where you left it. So if you're not putting it in the same place every time, you won't know. So if you're consistent where you put that flyer, you go to the home, really complicated presentation. This is it. Here's the presentation. Knock, knock. I was by earlier today and I dropped off one of these. I wanted to make sure you received it. Knock, knock. Hi there, my name's Charles. I'm not here to sell anything. I was by here earlier today. I dropped off one of these and I want to make sure you received it. If the answer is yes, here's what you say. If the answer is no, or I don't know, here's what you say. No worries whatsoever. Like I said, I'm not here to sell anything. I'm visiting with other people that have gone solar, and we have a great way for you to go solar. Terrific promotion where there's nothing out of pocket whatsoever, and you go through the bullets on the flyer, just like you would do it every single time. You memorize nothing more than, I was by today and I dropped this off. I wanted to make sure you received it. That is the most non-intimidating way to prospect. Simple, straightforward, and anyone can do it. Use those flyers. You'll see different versions popping up on your screen, from the English to the Spanish to the 500 per year to 26,000 or the life of the loan. It depends on what you like the best. Lock that appointment down, do your part, and away you go. And then the last section here is what we call working smarter, not harder. And it's really important to utilize some of these skill sets. And this is really simple. You can do this in 3-4 times in a day if you really want to do it smart. Find an existing customer or find someone who has solar on their roof. If it's not your customer, then stop at that home and knock on the door, step back, don't have anything in your hands whatsoever. And when the homeowner comes out, say, I was just out here and noticed that you have solar. I happen to be in the solar industry and I wanted to thank you and congratulate you for your decision to go solar. Watch the body language, watch the eye contact, watch the face. And if everything looks good, say, if you don't mind my asking, how has your experience been? And the reason I say watch the body language, watch the face is, there are some companies that don't do the greatest job for their customers. We're pretty proud of what we do, but you want to kind of filter that. And 9 times out of 10, or maybe even more than 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a very favorable response. Even that might not have liked the installer, it might not have liked the sales rep, their experience is typically good. So you take that information, you have a great conversation, make mental notes of that. And at this point, you haven't asked their name. The best way to do that is say, I really appreciate the time that you gave me. My name's Charles, and put out your hand. Look at them in the eye, don't break eye contact, and you're expecting they're going to take your hand, and just by nature, they're going to say their first name or their full name, whatever the case may be. If that conversation was really good, they may have already told you people you should go talk to. But either way, I'm going to start knocking doors next to that home. I'm going to go 5 doors down, knocking each door, cross the street, knock each door this way, cross the street, and knock each door that way. I'm right back where I started. My conversation will vary, but typically I would say, I was just by and I spoke with Joe. He's your next door neighbor down the road there. He has solar. He's had solar for whatever the story is that you picked up from Joe, and thought it might be a good idea to come by and see if anybody stopped to see if you're eligible. Very similar to the other presentation. Then you pull out the flyer. Your script is right there that you didn't have to memorize. You're just using it as an introduction, and you're always pointing, you're referencing the person or the people who you have appointments with, the people who you spoke with, and it really simplifies your job. That's working smarter, not harder. The script is there. This deck in PDF will be in that Dropbox folder for all the mini versions of the scripts, as well as a comprehensive manual that talks about everything and then some beyond what we're covering here today. Okay, so some other key tips for success in what we do is, your physical actions when you're in a neighborhood are really important. You never know if that person you just had a slight confrontation with, or you didn't like what you saw and you had a reaction to it, or vice versa. That could be the person you're knocking on their door next. So be very, very sure when you're passing someone by to be courteous, be respectful, be happy, and hope that you do pass by them. This is not how you want your prospect to feel, right? You don't want them to feel, oh my gosh. It's really important, your body language, your positioning of where you are. When you ring the doorbell, don't knock on the door. Remember, knock, don't ring. It's intentional to put that there to remind you. You've got to let the homeowner feel comfortable. Get out there minimum 10 feet, preferably 15 to 20 feet, so that they can typically open their door and step out. If you're right in front of their door, you're in their comfort zone. That previous slide is how they will feel. Even though they may not physically demonstrate that, that's how they will feel. So it's very, very important to give them comfort. Just like this gentleman here, get comfortable enough back so that when you answer the door, and the best bet is to turn to your side so that you look like you're writing, you look like you're busy. And then when someone comes to the door, you look up, hey, how are you? My name's Charles. I'm not here to sell anything. Get a little smile on your face, and whatever script it is that you're going to use, That's the way to make them feel comfortable. And typically, they're going to start to probably come out on the porch, unless that you're in a neighborhood where they're not comfortable. And if that's the case, then gradually take a step by step towards the door, but not in a motion where it gets them uncomfortable. Just kind of one step, keep talking, have a couple more sentences, take another step to where you're within comfortable level, but not up where you're breaking that space where people can do it. And again, when you mention a neighbor, when you mention a name, point to it and use their name so that it actually brings some credibility to what you're saying, and it will definitely help your experience with the prospect. Okay, now, you think you're going to face objections in the field? Absolutely. And if you just take, I'm not interested, you're going to lose the battle. There's no question about it. Everybody's not interested, but what is it that they're not interested in? Right? They have no idea what you're out there to talk about. So you've got to be able to break that one immediately. That's going to be the biggest objection you have. The second biggest objection you have is going to be, I can't afford it. It's too expensive. Those are the two biggies. So you want to rehearse those and make sure you're comfortable with how to do that. And the technique is to make sure you open someone's mind, because a prospect, when they have a question or an objection, you can't drop a thought into a closed mind. And the best way to open the mind is to cushion, to agree with them, to make a statement or compliment them, and that will start to open up their mind. What you're really trying to do is just acknowledge what they said. I totally understand, and I'm going to show you some examples of that. So cushioning is really critical. You start with the cushion. I understand how you feel, or yes, that's a great question. A lot of people felt that way, but I'm not here to sell anything. And all I'm doing is setting up a convenient time to come back and help educate you on the benefits of going solar. I don't do any high pressure sales. So as I was saying, you go back to wherever you were in the script, and then I'm going to be here, or I'm going to have someone in the neighborhood where I can come back and actually spend 30 to 45 minutes with you. And that's when you start to now slow it down, get them to commit, go through locking down all the bullets that we just said and confirming that appointment. So it's really important. Some of the basic, I'm not interested. No, look, I understand exactly how I feel. Most people say they're not interested because they don't even know that what I'm out here doing. I'm not selling anything. And all it takes about 30 seconds for me to share with you what I'm doing here today. As I was saying, boom, just go right back to it. Don't get into what it is you're doing. Just go right back to the script. Go right back to the flyer. Get their attention. Then overcome it. Go back to the close. As I was saying, boom. How does that program work? That's a great question. Listen, I'm not here to sell anything right now. All I do is just determine if you're eligible. So I'm going to write that question down if you would as well. And when I come back, or with one of our solar professionals comes back, we'll have answers for all of that and any other questions that you might have. So again, I'm not here to sell anything right now. I'm going to be back in the neighborhood on Friday and Saturday. Which of those 2 days is better for you? Always go right back to the close. Cushion, overcome, go back to the script, and close. Real simple tactics. So remember, recap, cushion the objection, give an agreement, acknowledgement, compliment, whatever works for that particular objection, overcome it by basically deferring without answering. I'm not selling anything. I'm really not here to do that right now. I'm just like to educate you on the benefits, but I'm going to come back and do that. It'll take me 30 to 45 minutes. Go back to the script wherever you were. And that's where you say, as I was saying, and then close with the optional. I'll be back here next day, same day, 2 days from now, whatever the case is, whatever your calendar looks like. So to recap, prospecting is the foundation of your business. There's different ways of prospecting, and Bobby's done some great training, and there were several really fantastic trainers. I saw Katis and Marky on the Zoom tonight. They have some great ways of prospecting. This is focused on door-to-door mastery. Remember, it's a numbers game, and the numbers, if you understand them, then just work with it. And don't argue with people to get an appointment. That's not going to help you. In fact, that's going to get them to call and complain and have the police come out and ask you to be taken out of the neighborhood. That never works. So don't argue, don't debate. If somebody doesn't like what you're doing and you've tried to overcome the objection, you've tried to go cushion, overcome, go back to the script and close, and that didn't work, move on. Next case. Most importantly, have fun doing what we do. We're helping people. They don't know that yet. They think you're there to hard pressure them into buying something. They don't realize that you're actually out there. Whatever you're going to do is going to create savings for them, and it's going to create impact for the environment and income for you. So use these tools, the basics, the fundamentals, download the different files that are in the Dropbox link that is adjacent to this video, implement it. The best time of year is here. We're starting to see more and more light every single day. The weather's getting better. Have fun. All right, for those who are listening live, stand by. We will have a wrap up here, and those who have got the recorded version of this, you missed the live Q&A, but at least you got the basic training. Thanks for listening and have an amazing day. Those who are live, stand by.